Today, the moon continues in Scorpio, and then midway through the day, it goes into Sagittarius. In my time zone, which is the Pacific daylight time in the United States, it will go into Sagittarius around noonish, middle of the day, and depending on a little afternoon, actually. Maybe between 12:30 and 1, but somewhere in the middle of the day there. And then, of course, if you are on the East Coast of the United States, we've got, middle of the afternoon. And if you're in Europe, I'm sorry, I don't always shout out those European time zones, but of course, this moon will continue in Scorpio for most of the day until into the evening when it will shift into Sagittarius. Okay, so what does it mean when the moon goes from Scorpio to Sagittarius? We have this shift in energy. So I'm going to walk you through that. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Friday, March 29th. So with this shift today, we complete the energy of the moon in Scorpio, and I've had two awesome videos the past 2 days, so March 27th and 28th, about the Scorpio moon energy. So if you have been feeling things or want to know what the heck is going on, watch those two videos to get really a sense of what the Scorpio moon is all about in this month's Scorpio moon, in particular, being following the new moon in Pisces, but also the eclipse, and being in the middle of these eclipse energies. It's kind of a potent and in some ways intense time of change, or can be. So that Scorpio energy continues today as the moon completes its time in Scorpio, the water sign, where we're transforming and we're moving things. Energy is moving on the inside. Things are changing, shifting in ways that's hard to put into words, under the surface, in the place of mystery, when we don't necessarily know what's going on, but we feel it. We feel it because it's moving through us. So yesterday I had some great tips on how to, in practical terms, work with the Scorpio energy and attend to your self-care needs when the moon is in Scorpio. So definitely check that out if you missed it. And then what happens is that the moon completes its time in Scorpio, and as the moon does every month, it passes by a number of aspects. I don't mention all the aspects that the moon is constantly forming and unforming, but yesterday it passed by an opposition to Jupiter and Uranus, which are coming closer to their conjunction in Taurus. So some shifty energy going on, some need to really step more fully into your truth, into who you are and what is true and right and authentic and meaningful for you. So, okay, so that sort of completes its time with that Scorpio energy. And then when the moon goes into Sagittarius today, we have a shift into a little bit more perspective. So what has been going on? How do I make sense of it? What does it mean? How do I talk about it, right? Starting to get that bird's eye perspective where we're not so much in the middle of something that we can't explain what's going on. So Sagittarius is the archer, right? It's about that arrow and shooting your arrow beyond what you can see. And so when we think about Sagittarian energy, one of the things we are wrapping ourselves around is this ability to make sense, to integrate, to synthesize, and to organize ourselves around an idea, a theory, a set of beliefs, a philosophy. So that's why Sagittarius has to do with travel, publishing, broadcasting, right? It's where we organize ourselves to take all the data or the experiences we've had and tell the story, like unify all the myriad experiences that we've had or the data points or whatever, and we sum them up. So with Sagittarius, we have this experience of summing up truth to unite it in an idea. And you can see how that becomes a theme like religion or a belief system or a philosophy, because it's like, who is telling the story, right? So Sagittarius is really about the narrative. It is really about who's telling the story. What is the story that is being told? How are we adhering to and aligning ourselves according to that story? And what does that mean for our own truth and our own unfolding understanding of who we are? So sometimes we need to challenge the existing set of beliefs because our own truth tells us otherwise. And sometimes we need to share our truth in ways that disseminate that, that set of conclusions that we've reached for ourselves. So through broadcasting, publishing, higher education, and teaching, it's like, what is your pulpit? What do you need to say? Okay, so bringing it back to today and the moon's shift from Scorpio into Sagittarius, we have this opportunity to begin making sense of these deep, hidden, mysterious energies that have been moving and unfolding through us. The transformational process we've been going through, we start to get that perspective on the bigger picture, how it fits into the story of our lives, the story of our lives right now, if nothing else, right? Like what we're learning, how we're growing, who we're becoming, what it means for our future, and how we organize ourselves around the decisions we have to make going forward. So it's just the beginning as the moon shifts into Sagittarius of getting that perspective, starting to think about, what is the story? What does this mean? How do I put this into words? How do I want to make sense of it, make meaning, tell the story, share the story? And even, best possibility is like offer it in a way that can be helpful to others, right? I think that's what our souls really crave, is that experience of, how can I take what's happened to me or what I've been through or what I've discovered and offer that to others in a way that could help them on their journey. So we get that feeling of the togetherness of our shared humanity and how our experience might be able to benefit others. And of course, maybe there's someone else's story who might benefit you. So it's thinking about those stories and how we tell them and how we make meaning and organize ourselves around a set of beliefs or a philosophy of life and our own journey of becoming. So we're doing that again in the context of this Pisces moon cycle that has to do with letting go of old constructs, surrendering to the bigger picture of truth and meaning and love and what it is we're becoming, how we're going to fulfill the dream of the bigger picture of who we are and what makes our hearts really come alive. So stay tuned. I will share more with you about the Sagittarius moon energy and how to work with it as we have the moon continuing in Sagittarius over the weekend, and we'll be heading into the third quarter moon, and then a week out from there on April 8th, the new moon and solar eclipse in Aries, and that opportunity for rebirth and emerging as a new sense of self, with a new sense of self. So before we can do that, we have to let go of the old, and you might feel some things going along this journey. So maybe as the moon shifts into Sagittarius, you'll start to get some perspective on how it fits in the bigger story. Thanks so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe. I sure appreciate your support. It's totally free for you to subscribe and it supports my work. Thanks for being here. For all your likes and comments, I really appreciate them. I love seeing your comments, and check out my work at astrologyheals.com, books I've written, ways to work with me, etc. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time with more astrology for unshakable self-care.